Hey everyone. Since there's still a couple days left in October, I thought I would do another horror book review. Now, I did read this book a little while ago, but it's still fairly fresh in my memory. It's The Pluto Pact by Guy N. Smith. This book was first published in 1982, and I've got a Hamlin copy. Now, Guy N. Smith is one of those authors who has cult following, a cult reputation. His books sometimes go for ridiculous prices on eBay, but I don't really see the content of his books discussed that often. So I really wanted to do a review of this one. The basic setup of this is that there's a satanic wizard named Balzer in the 1580s who is put to death, burnt to death by villagers. And of course, as he's dying, he curses the area and sort of vows revenge. Then in the present day, so in the 1980s England, there's a nuclear waste processing plant being built in the same area that Balzer died. So of course, will Balzer's curse affect the nuclear waste site? The narrative mostly follows Bob Coyle. So Bob Coyle's our main protagonist. He's a local journalist, and he's strongly against the nuclear waste site. He's been campaigning against it for a very long time. And the book follows his clashes with the nuclear waste industry and local politicians. Now, in terms of the structure of this book, about the first 10% of it and the last 10% of it are very strongly horror. And then the middle 80% or so, it's actually a relatively straightforward disaster thriller. The narrative just follows this journalist and his family life as he kind of investigates the nuclear waste plant and the disaster that occurs there. So those who get this book expecting it to just be like one scene of horror after another might be disappointed. I was totally fine with it. I was in the mood to read, a disaster thriller type book. Because of Guy N. Smith's reputation as a pulp horror author, I expected it to be just one scene of violence after another. And I expected the writing to be kind of basic, pulpy, or sloppy. And for the most part, it's not. It's actually, I would say, a well-written, competent thriller for most of it. Disaster thriller. With a lot of stuff about the ecological impact and a lot of stuff about Bob Coyle's family dramas and how his campaign against the plant has kind of affected those around him, with a lot of emphasis on like family drama, because both of his children have jobs at this plant. I thought the opening of this book, where you get Balzer's death, was very strong, but sometimes it did slow down a little bit too much in the middle, with the family drama stuff especially. And because Bob Coyle is kind of an unlikable character in a lot of ways, in that he's very stubborn and that his marriage is falling apart and he's not a very good husband and father. So overall, I enjoyed it. I'll definitely be reading more Guy N. Smith if I can afford it. And I would give this a slight recommendation if you want to read a gory disaster thriller with elements of horror thrown in. All right, that's it. Hope you're all having a nice Halloween. Thanks for watching. See you later.